Hello and welcome to C++ Weekly. I'm your host Jason Turner. I'm available for code reviews, contracting, and on-site training. In this episode, I am going to discuss the meaning or lack thereof of whitespace in C++. Now, this is something that C++ inherited from C, really here. So one of the first things that the preprocessor does when it is preparing to compile our code, or what the compiler does during the early phases of compilation, is basically to remove whitespace. So it is completely meaningless. Well, mostly completely meaningless. I can't, for example, remove the space between type name and F here because it would see that as a single token. But I can remove all of these spaces. And in fact, I can kind of end up with a program that's quite unreadable to a human. And if you don't recognize this particular code, this is from my recent episode on implementing standard bind front from C++20 using only lambdas of C++20 persuasion. So there you go. From the compiler's perspective, this version has nothing different to it than the version that we started with that was all nice and clean and human readable. And I think that I've removed every possible piece of white space from this code while giving it a nice, neat, uniform, somewhat rectangular pattern here. And you'll see that actually a lot of code in the obfuscated C code competition do exactly this kind of thing and take advantage of this aspect of C and C++. So I certainly don't recommend that you actually write code like this, but if you happen to work in an environment where you have coworkers who decide to write code like this, you can always return things to sanity with the handy clang format tool. So we have here a clang format configurator tool that is available online that lets us choose all of the different possible settings that we can from clang format itself. And we can take our terribly human unreadable code here and paste it in and just hit update. Now, of course, clang format actually has implementations that are built into basically every single IDE that's available today. And while you might not love the particular format that is chosen, this is the WebKit version in this case, let's say we go with LLVM or with the default version, we can sit here and play with all of these things and generate a .clang format file that you can put in your repository and have for use for whatever IDE you happen to be using. So this is definitely a tools kind of episode in the same sense that it is an episode on really just, understanding a little bit more about the language and our compiler. So thank you for watching this episode of C++ Weekly. Be nice to your coworkers and write readable code and consider using a clang format file.